down and bring him up.
Yes.
But it's about the heart, my heart being in the right place with him.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, and you know, it's easy. And of course, I mean, you've talked about this on several occasions, and that's wonderful.
It's not me doing things on my terms. It's me doing things on God's terms, with my heart being correct with Him.
Yes, and that makes sense because you know you look at that, and you know it's really easy for me to, especially as a believer with a little zeal, to go to that individual that's got a drinking problem and look at them and tell them, you need to fix that alcohol issue you've got.
Right.
But here's the thing in my life was I would slow down on drinking for the sake of somebody that, you know, somebody, whether it be my mother, my wife, whoever, that, you know, was you're drinking too much. Well, I would just shift that around and I'd spend a little more money and do a little more drug of some kind. And I tell you where I'm going with this is it's not the drinking that's the issue. It's not the drugs that's the issue. It's the heart that's the issue. So you can take care of the drinking, but if the heart's left in the same spot, there's going to be another empty cup that you're going to start drinking from to try to get filled.
True.
And that's exactly what you're saying there. So, you know, I can build the tower as much as I want to get to God, but until the heart's fixed, all I'm doing is just beating again the air, as Paul said.
Until I submit to Him.
Exactly.
And do things His way.
Yes.
Not my way.
Absolutely.
His way. It's not my will, but it's His.
Very good. Very good. If I had the clap button, I knew we would work with that, I'd hit it. But that's very good.
All right.
And that's something that I feel like is not really preached as much in a lot of our area anyway, is the fact that, you know, I can try to turn over a new leaf all I want to. I can try to fix the drinking problem. I can try to fix the drug problem.
Yeah.
I can try to fix the sex addiction, the lying, the stealing, whatever that issue is. But if I don't fix the heart, that's where the problem is. It's not the drugs. It's not the alcohol.
Right.
They're a byproduct of the heart.
There you go.
So, and that's what Paul's saying here.
It's exactly right. And, you know, Proverbs, speaking on that wise right there, if I can find Proverbs right quick, chapter 4, verse 23, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. That's exactly what you just said.
Yes.
That's exactly what you just said.
Yes.
Whatever's going on here is going to manifest itself outwardly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It most certainly is.
And that's the outward's where you get in trouble. Because the heart is directing the body and directing all the members of the body to do certain things. And the certain things you do is what's going to get you in trouble. It's going to bring judgment. You know, I've never seen an example of a society or a whatever person that's being judged by simply what's in their heart. They're always being judged by something the heart has caused them to do.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's revealed. I mean, and you know, in that verse that you just read in Proverbs is excellent. And it actually, and I think it's somewhere right there next to that, it says, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's actually focusing so much on the fact that the mouth is, as it is, what he's trying to say is, I can tell where your heart is by the life you live.
That's exactly right.
And the same thing there.
Exactly,
I mean, you know,
right.
Out of the abundance of the heart flows the issues of life. So, you know, and again, and all that goes right back to what the Lord was talking about when he told him, he said, if your eye be single, your whole body is full. Every bit of that, he's saying the same thing. And that's kind of what Paul's saying right here. Don't you think?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, he's trying to get us to see and understand, just as it's on the same token, that being a Jew is not going to give you a buy into the kingdom of God, because the underlying issue is not fixed until that heart is transformed and the mind is transformed because of the heart being transformed.
If the heart is transformed, everything else
will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Because you've suddenly gotten back to that image that you were created to be in the beginning, right there.
Exactly.
That's what Paul talked about when he said the fullness of God was in Christ, being complete in Him, being perfect in Him. Every bit of that is all talking about me actually never truly finding myself outside of who He is and what He created me to be.
Right.
And that's what He's getting to right here.
You're right.
So from that standpoint, that lineage ain't going to fix a thing.
Right.
And
so he's still tracking exactly like he was when he began this chapter here, the chapter 9.
Yes.
And you see this stuff all through Paul's writings when he's speaking to the Jews.
Right.
So there's this huge overlying issue with dealing with these Jews and making them understand, look, guys, you're not special.
Right. The lineage is not going to benefit any more than me, and I use myself because I remember doing this countless times. I would come in, of course, anybody that knew me knew that I was extremely wild, and I would come in, drunk 4 or 5 nights in a row. And my wife, I could tell she was, I'm sure she was fed up with a whole lot of stuff I done back then. But I could tell she was getting, this is getting old. So I would just make a shift and wouldn't drink as much. But, man, I would smoke twice as much marijuana or do twice as much of something else.
Right.
But it never fixed the problem. So just the same as this lineage, Paul's saying this lineage is not going to fix the problem. It's the same thing with me, with you, with anybody that's listening. That shift from not doing or doing is not going to fix the problem because that underlying issue is still there. It takes what Paul's talking about right here. So that's what he's getting across to them, is you're going to be the same individual until that heart changes.
Right.
Yes. Okay, that's good, brother.
Well,
Very good.
And that's how the mind is transformed. To be, transformed by the renewing of the mind.
Right.
Well, the mind is renewed how? Because the heart believes.
Because the heart is changed.
The faith that you have in this word will make the mind renewed.
Absolutely.
You'll be a new creature.
And Paul's getting ready to cover every bit of that right here in just a couple of verses.
Go right ahead.
Yes. All right. So now let's see. We're at verse 6, right? Yeah. Verse 7. Verse 6, verse 7. Verse 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Verse 7. Or who shall descend into the deep, that is, to bring Christ up again from the dead? But what saith it? Now here goes. Here goes exactly what you just said. The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thine heart. That is the word of faith which we preach. Now here you go. Everything you just said is right here in this next verse. That if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. Now that's exactly what you just said right there.
Now that's beautiful.
Yes,
words.
Indeed, absolutely. And Paul explains the correlation between the mind and the heart right here when he starts explaining what this salvation that he just read right here is. Now, in verse 10 here, he explains exactly what he's saying, exactly the way you just explained it a second ago. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. So now, what if I'm understanding this right, what Paul's actually saying is, there has to be a shift in my heart that shifts me so much that I'm actually able to see myself the way God sees me through Jesus Christ, which sees me now as righteous in His eyes through Christ. And through that, me confessing, which is just another leg off of the mind.
Sure.
I mean, we know that's the driver.
That's what that change of heart's going to produce.
That's exactly right. Just exactly like what you said. When the mind's transformed, the heart has been transformed.
Right.
That's where the and that's exactly what Paul's saying right here. He's saying this all is a nutshell or a byproduct
Great.
of your salvation.
Great word right there. Brother Dwayne, if I see you sitting on the train tracks up in Emory, and I've just come out of Emory, and I seen that train, I seen it. I know it's coming. I holler over there and say, Brother Dwayne, I just saw that train coming down the track, brother. You better get off that track. And you say to me, well, boy, I appreciate that, Rodney. I'll get off the track here in just a minute. I'm going to leave with the full assumption that you believe what I told you.
Right. And I'm going to
because you confessed. You believe that.
Right.
But if I pick up the newspaper in the morning or click on my favorite news channel here locally and I see your face plastered out there,
run over by a train.
You got run over by a train, there's only one thing that I can infer with that, is that you didn't really believe what I told you.
Yes. It's my fault. You give me the information.
I did.
All the tools.
You claimed you believed what I said, but if it didn't move you to obedience, you perished.
And sounds a lot like salvation.
It's exactly right. That's exactly how this works. You know, it's kind of like, you know, we've been through it.
Yes.
But here's a good place to catch it again. You know, this
faith without works.
Faith and works, the connection is so intertwined that they're almost the same. It's like one cannot exist without the other. And I'm going to use an analogy here of like a foundation. The foundation of salvation has to be faith.
It has to be.
That has to be there. Right. Then you build that house upon that foundation. Mm-hmm. Now, if I go down the road here and I see Brother Dwayne's house that he just built, I'm going to say, wow, look at the house that Brother Dwayne just built. That's beautiful. Now, I don't see the foundation, but I know it has to be there because why? The house is still standing. This huge, big, wonderful, beautiful house has to be sitting on something solid and firm.
That's good.
That's that foundation, and it has to be there. It's just given. So without a foundation, the house is going to crumble.
Right.
Well, without a house, there's no need for a foundation. So if the house is the works, the foundation is faith, they go together. One need not exist without the other. What's the use of putting a foundation in the ground and nothing to put on it?
And not put anything. Don't you think that's exactly what James was saying when he wrote, and he said, you show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by my works.
Brother, that's exactly what he's saying. Yes. And those people, I mean, it's easy to look at this and go, believe, believe, believe. Okay, but there's some implications with belief. If you have true faith in the words of this book, it's going to produce something. It is absolutely, and I don't care if you're on your deathbed and you say, well, they didn't have any works. They got saved 10 minutes ago and they're dead. Listen, there was a renewing of their mind.
Yes. There was an acknowledgement that they needed something they did not have.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
And that produced, that faith produced something.
Yes. I agree.
It never worked. Look, an atheist, he has faith that this is fake. This is not true. And it's going to manifest itself.
Right.
I saw actually a guy at a local restaurant just a few weeks ago, and he had this shirt on, and I don't know why it caught my eye, because I never, pay much attention to that kind of thing. And it had a big A right here. And I thought, that's an unusual A. And why would I think this? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But it it's not a ball team.
Right.
It's just a weird looking A. And I thought, that stuck in me so bad that I actually came home and actually looked that up to see what that meant, because there was no words in it. Mm-hmm. It was atheist. Now, the work that was produced by the faith that this book is not true, the work that produced was, I'm going to buy me a shirt and announce it to the world.
Right. That I don't believe this.
So that faith produces a work as well.
Right. Absolutely.
If you have faith that there's nothing out there, you're going to profess that some way in your life.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and if you look at life in general, everything in life is based on faith. Everything. I mean, you stop and you think about it. Can you guarantee me with your job tomorrow that what you do tomorrow you're going to get paid for?
No.
And you can't.
I'm not even sure I'm going to get paid for what I did yesterday.
and there you go. So it's on faith.
Yeah.
Everything we do is on faith.
You're right.
When we go out here and you start toward your house and I start toward my house, I cannot look at you and say, Rodney, I guarantee you that come Bible study this week, come prayer meeting this week, I'll see you there. Everything in life is based on faith.
Very good point.
So now, just plain faith is really going to leave me kind of empty unless I actually put that faith into action and say, well, my faith, I believe that if I'm careful and I pay attention to what I'm doing, I'm going to make it home. So the same thing with the job. I believe and have faith that the individual that is employing me is going to give me a paycheck. Mm-hmm. Everything in life is based on faith, but every single bit of that faith, there is something involved, in that is a work.
Very good point.
And it's the same thing here.
That's a very good point.
I mean,
yes, it is.
You just can't get around that.
Right. Yeah. Something will be produced by faith. And
alone.
Hey, look, James even says 3 times over there in chapter 2, faith without works is dead. Now, dead to me is gone. It doesn't exist.
It's not there.
My grandfathers are, they're dead.
They're dead.
They cease to be.
Right. and you can go, and I don't say this being psychopathic or foolish, but you can go dig them up where they're buried, and they're dead. They've
ceased to be.
They've ceased to be.
And that's exactly what he's saying about faith. Without works, there is no faith.
That's right.
That's what he's saying.
That's why he said, I'll show you my faith by. Because he said,
exactly right.
My faith is produced from something.
And that's why we always see in the scriptures judgment based on action. You know? I mean, if you go to Matthew chapter 25 and read from verse 31 on, what's he saying? How's the sheep and the goat separated? By what they did do or they didn't do, driven by the heart.
Right.
Motivated by the heart.
Right. The only difference in that whole scenario right there is one saw a need outside themselves and the other one did and acted on it. And acted on it. Well, and again, and I'm, and I don't want to come across as just trying to bash, because I can assure you,
just don't see how they. I don't see how anybody cannot see that.
I don't. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I hope, if nothing else, I at least hope, rather than the remarks of whatever pill that we took, while, hey, I appreciate it, the view, if you're watching, watch again, and you can comment next time that we're taking the same pill. I mean, I'm not moved a whole lot by that, but I don't want anybody to feel like that we're just casting stones at somebody.
No.
But at the same time, I just don't see how that so many verses are missed.
Right.
I really don't.
Right. When Paul is very plain in the overall of what he's trying to say, the point he's trying to get across is very plain here.
It's very plain. Yeah.
So
I agree 100%. Mm-hmm. Okay. You got anything else?
No, you just have to do a whole lot of twisting to get something else out of that.
A lot. You do, brother. Mm-hmm. I mean, you really do. And I've actually tried to read and study from that standpoint to make it fit, because I want to know the truth. If that means I'm wrong, I want to be wrong and know the truth.
That's it.
Yeah, but I want to know the truth.
That's it.
So, but every time I've ever looked at it, there's just too many questions I have that scripturally I cannot answer from that standpoint.
Right.
And to me, and this is just my opinion, to me, that tells me that there's something missing there that either I'm not getting or that it was never intended to be gotten.
Right.
So.
Right.
All right. Got anything else?
No, go right ahead.
All right. In verse 10, I'll read verse 10 again. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. So there it is. Again. For the scripture saith, whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. Of course, and I think that's the confession part of the mouth.
Sure.
You got anything deeper to go into?
No, that's I mean,
pretty much self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, if you truly believe this, hey, you're going to stand up for it.
You're going to stand on it.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. I mean, you're going to stand, because this is the truth.
This is the truth.
Yeah.
Yes, it really is. Yeah. And I feel like that's what Paul's saying.
And if you really believe that's truth, how can you be ashamed of it? You see?
Well, and again, there's that faith. There's so much more to faith than just believe.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's just so many places that the Scripture just like that. I mean,
the implications are that just believe is going to bring on a whole litany of things, actions.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And one of them is not being ashamed.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Verse 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Mm-hmm. Now, and I know, and I've actually heard this particular verse right here explained away. And that is that, well, this is talking about with salvation. With salvation with God, God will save whoever. That's exactly what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what we're trying to say. And on the same token, I don't read of two salvation plans.
No.
I mean, Jesus made it very clear. He said, I am the way. So, and that's always been my response. When I hear that, and I'll read the verse again with that in mind. I mean, it's always been, that's talking about salvation, and if the Jews over there wanted to be saved, God would save them. Yes, exactly. But if they don't want to be saved, God is not going to force himself on nobody.
That's exactly right. You know what that would mean? There's going to be people in heaven that really don't want to be there.
That really don't want to be there. Really chose rather the wages of sin and to live a lifestyle outside of manifesting God. And they're going,
like I said, less than 2% of Israel right now, as we speak, believe that Christ is the Messiah. Mm-hmm. Now there's a lot of ground covered right there. It's not only are they all rabbinical Jews, there are those who just don't believe in anything.
Right.
They're atheists. Sure. I mean, there's atheists there in.
For sure.
There's a large concentration of atheists.
Right.
In fact,
just like there is here. Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And so you're telling me that all who are of that lineage, who abide in that nation, Israel, over there, they're atheists. They don't believe in God. What if you're a member of the Church of Satan? You believe in God, you just don't want, you just have more fun on the dark side. Are you telling me that God is going to force you to go to heaven? I mean, come on, man. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
That's so far from the the Scriptures.
Yeah, and for the life of me, I cannot make myself.
But that's what that would mean.
That's brother. Exactly what that would mean.
That's what that would mean.
That is exactly what that would mean.
Just as long as you're part of that lineage, hey.
Everything is fine. And all of that goes back to the prophets prophesying and talking about that kingdom, the throne of David being set up.
Yeah.
But, Jesus made it very, very clear. He said, my kingdom is not of this world. He said, this was in the judgment hall.
Yeah.
When if at any time he should have proclaimed his kingdom, if it were of this world, that would have been the place to me.
Yeah.
He said, my kingdom is not of this world. If it were, he said, my servants would fight for it. Yeah. He said, he told Peter, Peter, put your sword away.
Right.
He said, this, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I mean, we're not, this is not what we're about. Mm-hmm. So that kingdom that he was talking about, and you'll find it in the book of Acts in multiple places, it is set up in the heart of the believer.
Yeah.
And that kingdom, and we've talked about this, that kingdom is a kingdom that says it's not about me anymore, it's about him. I die to myself that I can live for him and for that kingdom.
Right.
And it had nothing at all to do with the fact that he just missed the mark and now he's going to come back at some point and set up this kingdom over there in Jerusalem and force.
Yeah. Well, we've had this kind of inside joke for a long time about the number 1,000.
Yes.
And so I point out every time he says
every time 1,000. I say it, and I had no idea I said it as much as I did.
And it's only for that purpose, is to kind of remind us of how many times we actually use 1,000
as a general term for a lot.
And again, there's an idiom that we already saw over there in Deuteronomy.
Right.
Here's another
exactly.
idiom. And what this is, this 1,000 years is, to me, and this is what I believe, it's exactly like the idiom used over in Proverbs when, let's see, the writer said, God owns the cattle of 1,000 hills. Well, does that mean, if we take that literally, then
right.
I guess 1,001 doesn't belong to him.
It don't belong to God, yeah.
One day in your courts is better than 1,000 without. Does that mean 1,001 is kind of better now?
Right.
I mean, what he's saying saying that 1,000 is forever, a long, great, huge period of time.
It's just a number that expressed.
So when we see the 1,000-year reign, what's the chances that we're not seeing an equivalent idiom here? I mean, why do we take the rest as metaphoric idioms,
right,
and we take that one so literal?
Right.
Why is that? That's a little outstep with the way we understand the scriptures.
Absolutely,
so
I agree.
To me, we need to look at that. I mean, it's not just
Well, does that mean when Jesus said 7 times 70, which is 490, that on 491,
another good
he
example.
Was saying, "Let loose, buddy. Let them have it."
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, and that's a very good point. I mean,
so when he sets up that 1,000-year reign, a minute after the 1,000 years is up, he's no longer king. Is that
apparently not?
Means?
I mean, apparently not.
Come on, man. He's going to reign and rule forever. He reigns now.
Forever.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, I don't know. It really amazes me, and I don't say this, and please, I don't want nobody to hear too much into what I'm saying, but it amazes me just how thick a lens that we can put on when we want the scripture to say something, that we're so willing to make it say that we blind ourselves off to so many other scriptures.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the whole eternal security thing. And I'm not saying that there's not the power in salvation to keep us. God knows my heart. There is.
And we need the grace of Jesus Christ.
And we've got to have the grace of absolutely.
Sir.
And I'm certainly not going to sit here and tell anybody that I believe that this Bible says if you blink wrong, on the right day at the right time, that you're automatically doomed for hell. By no means. God's grace and mercy is the only thing that's going to get us to heaven. But there is so many verses in this Bible that teach me that if I don't keep myself in check, I can get to a place where I actually turn away from God, and the latter end of me is worse than the beginning. And I can actually go right back to that spot that I was and forfeit all the covenants that God gave me. And so with that being said, then,
Well, if my sheep hear my voice, that implies one must be a sheep.
One must be a sheep.
I mean, you must remain that sheep.
You must remain that sheep.
Yep.
And there's so many places in the Bible that go right along with that. And so, what kind of lens do I have to, and of course, and we've talked about this. I mean, we do a weekend Bible study, then we do this podcast, and of course, then our regular church services. But how many times in our weekend Bible study have we been reading verses, and you see a verse that automatically puts contingency on you and me for our salvation?
Right. Well, you'd never notice it until you start talking about it. It's kind of like the 1,000 thing.
Right.
We didn't realize that many times in general conversation we said 1,000 until you start focusing in on it. And if you start focusing in on that throughout the scriptures, you're going to see that so many times.
Right.
That there is something required of you and me.
Right. And on the same token, that 1,000 is just used as a number to measure out, like you said, an extremely long space of time.